Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Berea City Council meeting, Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. No fooling. I'll call the meeting to order. Might as well have a little fun on April Fool's Day, right? Madam Clerk, please let the record reflect that a quorum is present, and at this time I'll call on Katie Startzman to lead us in the invocation, followed by Teresa Centers leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Katie.
Thanks. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thanks.
Rise with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. And the next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve by John Payne? Is there a second?
I'll second.
By Jerry Little. Any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our March 18th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
moved.
By Steve Cottle. Is there a second? By Steve Davis. Any discussion on the motion to approve or corrections that are needed? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from March 18th, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. At this time, we are, next on the agenda is public comment. And Madam Clerk, we have Mrs. Eleanor Workman from Berea first. Mrs. Workman, if you'd like to make your way to the podium. And I would remind you that the public comment period is not to exceed 3 minutes and should not use any inappropriate language or naming of any person individually. Mrs. Workman, you have the floor. Welcome.
Well, I want to say I had a hallelujah moment when I was made aware of the fact that you had moved this section of the program to this spot, because it made me think you really might be interested in what the public has to say. And I would like to ask you to increase it to 4 minutes. And I would like to ask the clerk to take a timer to set so that the mayor does not have to look at us and say, I'm going to have to ask you to sit down because your time is over.
Thank you, Mrs. Workman. And the next person that is listed for public comment is Randy Dixon from Berea to speak about land use. Sir, you have the floor. Welcome.
Well, you could probably hear me regardless. My name's Randy Dixon, live in Berea. Been here about 10 years now. I started taking a little bit more interest in government lately. Basically, I'm here to comment on something you're going to be reading first minutes on tonight. Whether that's appropriate or not, I don't know. It's specifically about community uses in the industrial park area. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, please speak in. Currently, I believe the Berea Bike Park is considered a community use service, is that correct? And it already sits in an industrial park area, is that correct?
This is actually a public comment, so.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't know whether or not I'm getting feedback. From what I can tell of the land use maps, this is true. We've already got something sitting in there. And I also saw that back in April of 22, we were talking about the Ferris American History Forefront. And the Planning Commission talked about a measure for a zone change in the Berea Industrial Park. Now, problem I have with this, the words, I don't know what the intent is, but the words state that an industrial zone area is meant to accommodate light industrial and large-scale heavy industries. It is not something that would mix well with community use. You're going to have seniors and perhaps juniors in this area, and you might have big trucks floating around. It's not a good mix. Community uses we have defined as libraries, open spaces, and trails. Bike park, good idea. It fits over there. It just needs a little zone change to make it right. And recreational facilities. The amendment talks about making these conditional spaces. However, the conditions would be placed on the community services, not on the industrial. Seems to me that it would be more appropriate that those areas be rezoned rather than trying to throw the community services in there. I think there's only two, one current, one planned community use in that area. It should be fairly easy to rezone. It's been talked about, so I wouldn't think it would be hard. I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and that is our last sign up for public comment. All right, moving forward, the month of April is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. I think when we've done this in the past, we've referred to it as autism awareness, but it is also acceptance. So we want to make that very clear, and we do have a proclamation. I'm very happy to welcome Kent Hensley, who is a Berea native, and we'll recognize you in just a minute, Kent, but he also has his family with him. Kent has talked to me about having a proclamation. We discussed that some, and we do have a proclamation for this month, and I asked Kent and his family if they would come to receive the proclamation tonight. So many of you may remember Kent as well, because he is the great-nephew of the second mayor of Berea, C.C. Hensley. So we will read the proclamation, and then we'll do a little photo op, and I'll give you guys the floor, okay? Whereas autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a lifelong developmental condition that affects the way individuals communicate, interact, and experience the world around them, with an estimated 1 in 36 children in the United States diagnosed with ASD, and whereas individuals with autism have unique strengths, talents, and perspectives that enrich our communities, and it is essential to promote an environment of inclusion, acceptance, and support for individuals on the autism spectrum, and whereas it is vital that we continue to raise awareness about autism and advocate for better services, early diagnosis, and access to support for individuals with ASD, their families, and their caregivers, and whereas understanding and acceptance are fundamental to ensuring that individuals with autism are treated with dignity and respect and can live fulfilling lives free of stigma, discrimination, and isolation, and whereas local organization like CAMS Club advocates and supports groups play a critical role in educating the public, supporting families, and improving the quality of life for those affected by autism, and whereas the global effort to promote Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month fosters a deeper understanding of autism spectrum disorder and encourages communities everywhere to embrace diversity and inclusion. Now, therefore, I, Bruce Fraley, Mayor of the City of Berea, do hereby proclaim April as Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month in the City of Berea and call upon the citizens of our community to recognize the importance of autism awareness, show support for individuals with ASD, and work together to ensure that individuals with autism have the opportunity to reach their full potential. And tonight I'm going to do things a little different since Kent's already here with his family. Kent, if you'd like to say a few words before we actually present this, you have the floor, sir. Carry on.
First of all, thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council, for having us. This is my wife, Keelan, my son, Cam. Cam was diagnosed with autism just before the age of 2. He is now 8. Keelan and I found our purpose was to give back to the community of families with autism, so we started CAMS Club. CAMS Club's really on a mission to elevate and empower families with autism. As we've kind of embarked on this journey, we found 3 opportunities that are critically important. Number 1, we work to accelerate the diagnosis. That includes identifying the early indicators, making sure that we help remove timeline barriers, so a lot of the testing processes are greater than a year. as well as remove any financial hurdles. So we'll do that through grants. We also do intervention services, anything from coaching and counseling. But think of this as, you know, an individual or a family has been diagnosed. What do we do next? What services are available? How do we work with insurance? How do we get through the medical waiver programs? And several other things, just depending on the particular situation. The last thing we do is around community support. So we host a multitude of frequent events, anything from back to school at the movies. This week we're doing a Sky Zone event, and next week we're actually hosting a buddy day at EKU, which will be more of like an indoor field day type of experience. As well as given our personal experiences with CAM, we're very passionate about the emotional connection between horses and autism. And so we do a lot of horse therapy events and where we'll bring families in and cover the cost of those. We appreciate the acknowledgement of acceptance. That really gears more towards, there's a community of individuals that the typical world expects to adjust to their norm, when in reality it should be the typical adjusting to the atypical. And so we push for not only awareness and acceptance, but also inclusivity. Each of these individuals have their own challenges, and we work very hard with these families to make sure they know that they're welcomed. It's okay if they have challenges. It's okay if they have meltdowns. We're going to create an environment where everyone's welcome and understands. So we appreciate the support from the city of Berea. We are striving to make Madison County the cornerstone of autism in the state of Kentucky. We have a lot of resources, particularly at the universities, and we appreciate your support and continue to share, you know, what we're about and what we're doing. And if you have any families that you come across, friends, you know, direct family members, or even anybody you bump into, please send them our way.
And Ken, if you would, first of all, I'll add that Kent sent me a video that they produced, and we're going to send that around to all the council members. I'll also send it to our friends with the press to make sure that you have that video. But would you tell the council and the folks that are here about, because I think you have a website or a Facebook page, kind of how they can find more information about CAMS Club if they want to learn more about autism awareness and acceptance, or to help out in some way. Could you maybe address
Absolutely.
that?
Thank you for that. So camsclub.org, what you'll find with us is we're all Ks. So we spell CAMS, KHAMS, club, KLUB.org. Likewise, you can find us on any of the typical social media channels with the /CAMS Club. All of our events get posted on there. Of course, we do our Awareness Month. We'll share any types of new articles, any types of new studies. I know there's a political climate around, you know, autism and vaccines. We're not here necessarily to advocate for that, but the fact that we finally have meaningful conversation going on with powerful people is really important to us. And we recognize both sides of that equation. So, you know, we are just glad that it is in the news. People are talking about it. People are becoming aware about it. And, you know, ultimately, we have the opportunity to drive change. And we've touched a little over 350 families in about 18 months just here in central Kentucky. It's growing like crazy. And so, again, we certainly appreciate the opportunity to share our cause. As far as how the community can help us, you know, donations, we are constantly fundraising. We're getting ready to have a golf scramble at Boone's Trace on May 30th. I just sold out every hole and even had the opportunity to get some kind of premier sponsorships to further that cause. So donations are big, spreading awareness, and then if anyone has any interest in volunteering, we're always looking for and accepting volunteers. Our typical events will have, you know, up to 50 individuals, and what we like to do is pair them up with a friend or a buddy, because half of this battle is for the individuals themselves, the other is their parents and caretakers. We really like to have environments where they can take a load off. They can go have a coffee. We'll bring in sponsors to, you know, have a coffee bar or what have you, and just let them relax. It is 24/7. Autism does not turn off. There is no correcting it. It is the way of life for that individual, and so we work to adapt to them.
Good. So if you guys will come up, we'll see if Andy might do a picture for us. And All right, we do have another proclamation for the next item on our agenda. I think I'm right on our runny. The next proclamation is, this is National Doctors Day was actually last week. So we dated this on the 30th, but we wanted to catch up Monday just to recognize the importance of our physicians in the community and also our hospital and the healthcare system and the quality care that we get here in Berea with our hometown hospital, St. Joseph Berea. I do want to go ahead and read this, and then I'll welcome the Chief of Staff, Dr. Gaspar, and our friend Jackie Maynard from St. Joseph Berea to come up and accept the proclamation. I appreciate you all being here. Whereas it is important to recognize the dedication doctors demonstrate in our clinics, hospitals, emergency rooms, urgent care centers, and private practices throughout our communities, and whereas doctors have chosen the noble profession of caring for the health and well-being of all patients across the nation, and whereas doctors are some of the most talented, innovative, and hardworking professionals in the world, and whereas doctors are working diligently to advance the art and science of medicine every day, and whereas the service of doctors and their efforts to treat every patient with dignity, respect, and empathy they deserve is commendable, and whereas this National Doctors Day, the city of Berea, Kentucky, would like to express their gratitude to the doctors that are caring for and treating patients in our county, state, and across the nation. Now, therefore, I, Bruce Fraley, Mayor of the City of Berea, Kentucky, do hereby proclaim March 30th, 2025 as National Doctors Day, and it extends for the whole first week of April now. So if you all would like to come up and receive the proclamation. Hold that. Thank you all for being here. Let's give a hand to our doctors. And also, I forgot to give a hand to Cam, and Cam's Cam and his thing.
All right. Well, thank you, City of Berea, for this wonderful honor. From a young age, I have aspired to become a physician, to heal and serve with compassion, making a meaningful difference in people's lives. Here in Berea, I am reminded that it is more than just a city, it's a family. The kindness, warmth, and sense of togetherness that the people have shown me inspires me daily. At Berea Hospital, I have the privilege of working alongside an exceptional team of pharmacists, nurses, therapists, and technicians, all working as one to provide our community with the best health care possible. Together, we embody the spirit of unity and commitment that defines Berea. And I just want to say again, thank you again for this incredible honor. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. It's nice to see good folks and good efforts being recognized in our community, and thanks to all of you for the work that you do in our community, both professionally and on a volunteer basis. Thank you very much, and thanks for being here with us in person. Very meaningful. All right, the next item on the agenda, it's that time of year, whenever we hit April, we start looking for Jennifer Lanehart, the Executive Director of Hope's Wings. Jennifer, welcome back to the Berea City Council chambers. You have the floor.
Well, thank you. April and October, right? You can always expect me. Now, today I'm here and we're not fooling. You know, you said that we're not fooling. We're not fooling today, so Chief, before you leave, Mayor needs some handcuffs on him because he needs a good photo op for his Facebook page because your mayor will be arrested. He is arrested every year. I don't know why you can't stay out of trouble. It baffles me. I mean, year after year, you just don't learn. So he will be arrested. Unfortunately, fundraising is something that we also have to do at Hope's Wings. We are Madison County's domestic violence program. And fundraising this year is more important than it has ever been. I will stand up here and say that I wish I was, playing an April Fool's joke, but I'm not. Funding has always been strong for us. However, this year, we're rolling around to grant season, and unfortunately, we received 2 large federal grants that support phase 3 of our program, which is that housing piece where when we move survivors of domestic violence out of our emergency shelter into apartments in the community, and we have some here in the city of Berea that we pay rent for. Phase 3 of our program is that, and that is a grant that has now been frozen on a couple different levels. We have 2 grants that support that phase of our program, and those grants are now frozen. So we will be trying to figure out what phase 3 of our program looks like. How do we move people out of a domestic violence shelter? There's so many hurdles that those folks face already, and so fundraising is what I know best. Whenever we have struggles like that, all I know is to tighten our belts. We turn off all the lights in the shelter and we don't buy Post-it notes. And so, and this year what we're hoping for is an extra large fundraiser with jail and bail to kind of pick up some of those extra costs. So please, if your mayor reaches out and he asks for a few dollars to raise his bail, please help him. His goal, he usually raises about $1,200. I'm going to challenge him to go to $1,500 this year, Mayor. I told you we need it. You can do it. I'm pushing it, but you can do it. I have faith in you. I know that things are tight for everybody, and so Hope's Wings is not a state-funded shelter. We don't get money from our coalition. It was a shelter that Madison County saw a need for. It's a shelter that belongs to the citizens of this county, both Berea and Richmond, and so we are asking for your help. There are a lot of charities in Madison County, and you can't go wrong to whoever you give to this time of year, but I'm letting you know that we really could use your help this year. So if you've got extra dollars, maybe spread those around a little bit. Throw a few dollars our way. Throw a few towards the other programs that are also going to fill that crunch. So I appreciate our community, and I appreciate your mayor because he steps up. When I ask, he steps up. You have not let me down yet. So $1,500. Okay?
No pressure, right?
All right, no pressure. Get those handcuffs on him. Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. And I would encourage you, whether you donate to my bail or someone else's bail, to participate because it does go to a worthy cause. Thank you, Jennifer, for the work that you do in the community throughout the county. Berea's a major part of your work, and you also have Zinnia, I believe, still on your board. She's being arrested as well. So she's, I've got competition for bail money now. And I will say that last year, many of you donated to that. We do this with a Facebook account. Jennifer helps me to set that up, and you can donate that way. But I know many of you donated last year, and I appreciate that. We'll try to raise the $1,500. But last year, I know the last couple of years, we've raised over $1,000 just personally, and other people have raised much more than I have. So it does go to a worthy cause and where it's needed. So thank you, Jennifer. And if any of you guys want to be arrested, check with Jennifer. I'm sure she'll get the cuffs on you too.
It's the nicest jail you've ever been in. So
All right.
you eat a really good breakfast and lunch.
All right.
You have a good time.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate you being here, and thanks again for the work you're doing throughout the county. Thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda is a municipal order. This is number 03-2025, Financial Policies and Procedures. I'll note that we had a work session on this 2 weeks ago, and I would recognize our corporate counsel, Mr. Gilbert.
Whereas the City of Berea has heretofore adopted official financial policies and procedures for revenue and debt policy, and whereas the city's finance director has begun the compilation of the official financial policies into a comprehensive handbook of financial policies and procedures by providing numbered sections of same. And whereas the city's finance director has recommended the adoption of certain additional financial policies and procedures, and whereas the Finance Committee of the City Council has considered and recommended adoption of 4 official financial policies and procedures, whereas the City Council now desires to adopt the City of Berea financial policies and procedures as contained in the attachment hereto. Now therefore be it ordered by the City Council of the City of Berea, Kentucky as follows: that the attached financial policies, including accounting, auditing, and financial reporting sections Section 1.101 through 1.104, expenditures 4.101 through 4.04, capitalization and depreciation sections 5.01 through 5.06, and capital planning sections 6.01 through 6.05 are adopted and approved by the City Council. The financial policy shall be effective as of the date hereof, and shall supersede and replace any prior municipal orders or ordinances inconsistent with the attached investment policies.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Steve,
Motion on behalf of the committee,
motion on behalf of the committee. This was,
approved by the committee.
so it does not require a second?
Correct.
So we'll move directly. There is a motion on the floor, and we'll move directly into any comments or discussion. Any discussion on the motion?
I'll also make the comment that these policies and procedures are many of which are our standard practices, and with minor tweaks and things that Susan has put together and done a really nice job of ensuring that the city, if we all disappear and Susan doesn't come back one day, and we have continuity of practices. Because I will say that as a city, we've spent many years, and Susan's been a major part of this, doing a really great job of handling the financial stability of our city. But putting these in place and having these as set procedures ensure that we have the continuity of those practices and policies, so that when future generations are doing this, they have an idea of what we have been doing and what we should be continuing to do without kind of deviating from those best practices. And this has been a really big undertaking by Susan, and she's done a really great job of putting together some policies for our city that will really be good to us in the future for a very long time.
Good. Thank you, Steve. Any other discussion on the motion to approve and adopt municipal order number 03-2025? Seeing none, we'll move to a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve municipal order number 03-2025, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries, and municipal order number 03-2025 is approved and adopted. Susan, I will not repeat everything that Steve said, but thank you. Thank you for your work on this. Nice job. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 06-2025, Kentucky League of Cities online reverse salt auction sponsor. And I'll also note that this was subject to a work session with staff from the Kentucky League of Cities 2 weeks ago. Mr. Gilbert.
Whereas KRS 45A 300 authorizes a public purchasing unit to sponsor cooperative purchasing agreements, and whereas it is the intention of the City of Berea, Kentucky, to act as a sponsor for the Kentucky League of Cities reverse salt auction to be administered by eBridge, and whereas this resolution, the city is merely acting as the sponsor required under Kentucky law. The cities participating in the cooperative purchasing agreement will be solely responsible for entering into any contracts or other obligations with their chosen salt supplier after the reverse salt auction is concluded, and solely in their individual capacities. And whereas eBridge and the Kentucky League of Cities will be responsible for the administration and conduct of the reverse salt auction solely and completely, and that the City of Berea has no additional responsibility or liability under Kentucky law beyond acting as the sponsor. And whereas the City of Berea, Kentucky, by passing this resolution, does solely to meet the cooperative purchasing requirement as a public purchasing unit to act as a sponsor, so that the reverse salt auction may take place as required under Kentucky law, and that the city assumes no additional legal duties, responsibilities, or liability beyond acting as the sponsor. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Berea, Kentucky, as follows. 1, that the City of Berea, Kentucky does hereby agree to act as a sponsor for the Kentucky League of Cities reverse salt auction administered by eBridge. 2, that the mayor of the City of Berea, Kentucky is hereby authorized and directed empowered to execute all necessary documents and to otherwise act on behalf of the City of Berea to sponsor the 2025 Kentucky League of Cities Reverse Salt Auction. 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage.
Is there a motion to approve and adopt resolution number 06-2025?
So moved.
By Teresa Centers and second by Jerry Little. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 06-2025? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 06-2025, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, please say no. The motion carries, and resolution number 06-2025 is approved and adopted. Thank you all very much. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 04-2025, revising authorized positions pay and pay grade and pay scale. This is the second reading. Mr. Gilbert.
I'll summarize ordinance number 04-2025 by title. An ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky, revising the authorized positions, assigned pay grade, and pay scale by conforming the titles to current organization of the city pursuant to the separation of the Business Development Department from the Department of Tourism.
And again, this was subject to a work session 2 weeks ago. It is the second reading, so I'd request a motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 04-2025.
So moved.
By Katie Startzman and a second by John Payne. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 04-2025? Are you ready for the question? All right, we'll go to a roll call vote, and I'll begin with Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Startzman?
Aye.
Ms. Centers?
Aye.
Mr. Little?
Aye.
Mr. Cottle?
Aye.
And Mr. Terrell?
Aye.
Motion carries, and ordinance number 04-2025 is approved and adopted. Thank you all very much. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 05-2025, 2025 supplement to the Code of Ordinances. This is the first reading. Mr. Gilbert.
I'll summarize the recurring annual ordinance revising and adopting the supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Berea as follows. It provides that the American Legal Publishing Corporation will include all ordinances passed in the prior year in the Book of Ordinances.
And again, this is the first reading, but per past practice, I'll open the floor to any comments or discussion. All right, seeing none, we'll move forward. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 06-2025, Land Management Development Ordinance Amendment, Section 406.6, and this is the first reading. Mr. Gilbert.
Whereas currently the Land Management and Development Ordinance has a classification for community uses, which by definition includes such uses as libraries, open spaces and trails, recreation facilities, and the like, which are permitted in the city in B2 major businesses, B3 planned shopping centers, and B4 interchange business zones, is I-1 industrial park development. And whereas the city would like to add community uses and conditionally permitted in an I-2 industrial park zone to allow the city to set conditions for such things as design, construction, and activities held therein. And whereas the city also recognizes many businesses classified in the Land Management Development Ordinance as light warehousing and light manufacturing are not currently permitted in an I-2 industrial park zone, but that act as support businesses to local industries and often operate with little or no emissions, light trespass, or noise pollution, and would benefit those facilities in their operations when located nearby. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Berea, Commonwealth of Kentucky, as follows. 1, that the text of Section 406.6 of the Land Management and Development Ordinance, allowable land uses, be amended as follows. 1, add community uses as conditionally permitted uses in Industrial Park District Zone. 2, add light manufacturing as a permitted use in Industrial Park District Zone. And 3, add light warehousing and as a permitted use in the Industrial Park District Zone. Section 2, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herein are repealed. This ordinance shall be published according to law.
And again, this is the first reading with the second reading scheduled for our next meeting on April the 15th. I will note that the Planning Commission recommended approval in their last Planning Commission meeting of this particular ordinance. Per past practice, I will open the floor for any discussion or questions. All right, seeing none, we'll move forward. The next item on the agenda is department head reports. And our featured department head was the star of the show on the new financial policies, Susan Helton. I've gotten used to saying Helton now. I think that might be the first time. Susan, welcome. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I will admit I'm having some peer pressure to come up and say something ludicrous as an April Fool's joke, but I will spare you all of that. But I will start my report with expressing my gratitude on the adoption of the financial policies. I think that will help the city for years to come in guiding those financial decisions that future generations, and I appreciate your comments, Steve. Another thing that our department has been working on for the last few months, really, we also heard about in Thursday's work session, and that's the rate study. My department, but specifically the billing and collections supervisor, Heather Powell, she's been quite involved in that process. She has had to provide years' worth of billing data to them to do that analysis, and that was a lot of work on her. So I want to take this opportunity to recognize her because her depth of knowledge of our customer base and our rate structure and just in general her leadership is a great value to the city and particularly to the utility. So to that end, Heather and her team are also going to be instrumental in the implementation of the AMI metering program, and we've been working on that with Kevin Howard and his team. And I want to thank Kevin for allowing us to be part of that process, part of the selection process, because we've been able to participate in the interviews and go on those field visits. And being there from the very beginning is quite important because when they do those meter switch outs, it's just going to be, they're going to be instrumental in ensuring that those bills are accurate and timely, and also we're going to have to be reviewing some of our own internal processes so that we can utilize that technology to the best of our ability. So that's an exciting new project, and we're looking forward to get rolling on that. One of the other things that's big in our department right now is net profit returns. It's tax season, so normally this time of year, the deadline is quickly approaching for those net profits. This year, the federal and the state have extended their deadlines from April 15th to November 3rd, but it doesn't seem to, so far, it doesn't seem that we are being affected by that. We're still getting those rolling in. We're about 50 less than we were this time last year, but it's hard to say because the majority of those returns are going to come in the month of April. But I'm hopeful that most people are going to go ahead and file those. Usually we process about 1,000 returns just in the month of April. So from a budgetary standpoint, I don't think that's going to affect us much either. We typically are very conservative about what we budget for net profits for this very reason, because you never know when something like this is going to happen. Looking to the future, we are diligently working on our fiscal year 26 budget. The department heads, they have already submitted their proposed capital budgets, and now they're putting together their operating budget. City Administrator Sandlin and myself will be meeting with each department head starting April 21st. And my goal is to have a final draft sent out to the council by May 20th. And then we have on the calendar a budget work session scheduled with the council on May 27th. So please mark your calendars for that. End of year 2025 is just 3 months away. That's hard to believe. They seem to be coming around quicker. So far, we're looking strong financially. At the end of February, our general fund revenue was up about $600,000 from where we were at the end of the third quarter 2024. This is from a variety of sources. That does not include grants. That's just our normal operating revenue. On the expenditure side, at the end of February, we had only expended about 56% of our non-capital budget. So that's a good place to be with just a little bit over half the year. The capital budget is still about 90% unexpended, and it will probably stay pretty close to that because there's several large projects that just haven't gotten started and probably won't get finished before the end of the fiscal year. Moving on to a couple other things. We have the annual report for ARPA spending is due at the end of April. Just as a reminder, we had until December 24 to have all of those funds obligated. We did get those obligated. Those are all what we have left is going for the pool project. So those have been officially obligated with the contract. And then we have until December 2026 to get those expended, which should be easy to do with that project, as it should be completed before the end of the calendar year. Alcohol licenses are due for renewal May 1st, so those are the renewal notices are going out tomorrow, and then we'll get those new certificates out. Property valuations, they're going to be coming in late summer, so look for us to be setting those rates in August. Other than that, we just have our normal duties, payables, general accounting, receivables. This is the end of a quarter, so it's just nonstop in the finance department. It's always something exciting going on. So, with that, I'll take questions.
Thank you, Susan. Questions or comments for our finance director? Man, y'all are letting her off light. Susan, thank you. Appreciate the work that you and your team do. Thank you again. Would any other department head like to address the council? Priscilla Bloom, Parks and Rec Director, you have the floor, Priscilla.
Thank you, sir. Just wanted to quickly tell you guys about a program that the Parks Department has coming up in a couple of weeks. Autism Sensory Day on the 19th at the Folk Center. Free event from 1 to 3 p.m. We partner with several local organizations to provide sensory stimulating activities. We also will have free swag bags, food. It's just a really good time. So 19th, Folk Center, 1 to 3. If anybody has questions, or give us a call at the park office.
Thank you, Priscilla. Would any other department head like to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move forward, and next we'll move to mayor's comments. On behalf of the entire Berea city government family, I want to express our most sincere condolences to City Administrator Sean Sandlin and the entire Sandlin family on the passing of Doug Sandlin. That's Sean's dad. Doug, as many of you know, is a retired battalion chief with many years service in the city. Quality guy, a gentleman, and he'll be greatly missed by his family and all of us. So my condolences to the family on behalf of all of us. Next, we'll move to council comments, and I'll begin with Ronnie Terrell. Steve Cottle.
No comment.
Jerry Little. No comment. Teresa, you want to break the string?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to.
All right. Katie Startzman.
Well, my comments feel silly after offering condolences to the Sandlin family. But I did want to say, I wanted, the salt auction is a really cool thing that is going to save the city money. And the reason that I think that KLC came to the city of Berea to sponsor it is because of the leadership that Mayor Fraley and also Kevin Howard is also involved in the KLC board, right? And it's just, I'm really grateful to have leadership that's tied into KLC. It's the membership organization that cities belong to. And thanks for being involved in that, because that is directly impacting the city's bottom line and also building those strong relationships at the state level as well. So thanks.
Thank you, Katie. Appreciate that. John Payne.
Well, as Parks Committee Chair, I wanted to let everyone know we've established a period for our regular meetings, which is going to be the fourth Tuesday of the month. If there's no business to be dealt with that month, we will cancel the meeting, but otherwise we'll have our regular meetings on the fourth Tuesday. And secondly, I just wanted to point out it's very common for libraries to do this. We go to other libraries, we see something nice, and we try and bring it back home. So I also do that when I go to other cities. On the way here, I drove down Richmond, down Lancaster, and they were having Tasty Tuesdays. Really nice event. I looked up their information online, and they just started back up. It's weekly. They've got a number of vendors, live music, some other things going on. It looks like they've got, in addition to their rotating crew of food trucks and other vendors, they've got some anchors of the Madison County Farmers Market. They've got a local brewery, Dreaming Creek Brewery, and a local vineyard at the Chenal Vineyards. It was hopping when I drove by, and I love to see when community comes together. And I hope we get to do a lot more of that in the coming months, in the coming years.
Thank you, John. And last but not least, Steve Davis. Steve.
Believe it or not, no comment.
All right. Thank you, Steve. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn by Steve Cottle and second by John Payne? All in favor of the motion to adjourn,